The Ifni War, sometimes called the Forgotten War in Spain, was a series of armed incursions into Spanish West Africa by Moroccan insurgents that began in October 1957 and culminated with the abortive siege of Sidi Ifni. The war, which may be seen as part of the general movement of decolonization that swept Africa throughout the later half of the 20th century, was conducted primarily by elements of the Moroccan Army of Liberation, which, no longer tied down in conflicts with the French, committed a significant portion of its resources and manpower to the capture of Spanish possessions. Causes: the city of Sidi Ifni was incorporated into the Spanish colonial empire in 1860. The following decades of Franco-Spanish collaboration resulted in the establishment and extension of Spanish protectorates south of the city. Spanish influence obtained international recognition in the Berlin Conference of 1884. In 1946, the region's various coastal and inland colonies were consolidated as Spanish West Africa. Immediately following its independence from France in 1956, Morocco began expressing interest in the Spanish possessions, claiming it was historically and geographically part of Moroccan territory. Outbreak: violent demonstrations against Spanish rule erupted in Ifni on April 10, followed by civil strife and widespread killings of those loyal to Spain. In response, Generalissimo Franco dispatched 2 battalions of the Spanish Legion, Spain's elite fighting force, to El Aoun in June. Spanish military mobilization resulted in the Moroccan army converging near Ifni. On October 23, 2 villages on the outskirts of Sidi Ifni, Goulamine and Bouizarguen, were occupied by 1,500 Moroccan soldiers. The encirclement of Ifni had begun. 2 more legionary battalions reached the Spanish Sahara before the opening of hostilities. The storming of Ifni. On the 21st of November, Spanish intelligence in Ifni reported that attacks were imminent by Moroccans operating out of Tafraout. 2 days later, Spanish lines of communication were cut, and a force of 2,000 Moroccans stormed Spanish garrisons and armories in and around Ifni. Although the Moroccan drive into Sidi Ifni was easily repulsed, 2 nearby Spanish outposts were abandoned in the face of enemy attacks and many others remained under heavy siege. Tilan, 60 tiradors to Ifni, struggled to hold off a force of several hundred Moroccans. On November 25, a relief attempt was authorized. 5 Casa 2.111 bombers bombed enemy positions, while an equal number of Casa 352 transports dropped a force of 75 paratroopers into the outpost. On the 3rd of December, soldiers of the Spanish Legion's 6th Battalion arrived, breaking the siege and retaking the airfield. All military and civilian personnel were then evacuated overland to Sidi Ifni. Tellata. The relief of Tellata was less successful. Leaving Sidi Ifni on the 24th of November aboard several oil trucks, a platoon of the Spanish Legion paratroop battalion under Captain Ortiz-de Zarate made slow progress through difficult terrain. This problem was compounded by frequent Moroccan ambushes, which by the next day had left several men wounded and forced the Spaniards off the road. On the 26th of November, food ran out. The Spanish, low on ammunition, resumed their advance only to dig in again in the face of repeated enemy attacks. Rations were dropped by 8, but Spanish casualties continued to mount. One of the dead was Captain Ortiz-de Zarate. On the 2nd of December, a column of infantry, among them the erstwhile defenders of Tellata, broke through the Moroccan lines and drove the enemy off. The survivors of the paratroop detachment reached Sidi Ifni once more on the 5th of December. The company had suffered 2 dead and 14 wounded. Siege of Sidi Ifni. Initial Moroccan attacks had been generally successful. In the space of 2 weeks, the Moroccans and the tribal allies had asserted control over most of Ifni, isolating inland Spanish units from the capital. Simultaneous attacks had been launched throughout Spanish Sahara, overrunning garrisons and ambushing convoys and patrols. Consequently, Moroccan units, resupplied and greatly reinforced, endeavored to surround and besiege Sidi Ifni, hoping to incite a popular uprising. However, the Moroccans underestimated the strength of the Spanish defenses, supplied from the sea by the Spanish Navy and protected by kilometers of trenches and forward outposts. Sidi Ifni, boasting 7,500 defenders by the 9th of December, proved impregnable. The siege, lasting into June 1958, was uneventful and relatively bloodless, as Spain and Morocco both concentrated resources on Saharan theaters. Battle of Ejera. In January 1958, Morocco redoubled its commitment to the Spanish campaign, reorganizing all army units in Spanish territory as the Saharan Liberation Army. On the 12th of January, a division of the Saharan Liberation Army attacked the Spanish garrison at El Aoun. Beaten back and forced into retreat by the Spaniards, the army turned its efforts to the southeast. Another opportunity presented itself the next day at Ejera, where 2 companies of the 13th Legionary Battalion were conducting a reconnaissance mission. Slipping unseen into the large dunes near the Spanish positions, the Moroccans opened fire. Ambushed, the legionaries fought to maintain cohesion, driving off attacks with mortar and small arms fire. Notable fighting was seen by the 1st Platoon, which stubbornly denied ground to the Moroccans until heavy losses forced it to withdraw. Bloody attacks continued until nightfall, and were fiercely resisted by the Spanish, who were inflicted heavy casualties. By nightfall, the Moroccans were too scattered and depleted of men to continue their assault, and fled into the darkness. Clearance of Spanish Sahara. In February 1958, a Franco-Spanish combined force launched a major offensive that successively broke up the Moroccan Liberation Army. For the first time, massively superior European air power was brought to bear as France and Spain deployed a joint air fleet of 150 planes. The Spanish were 9,000 strong and the French 5,000. First of all were the Moroccan mountain strongholds at Tamtan. Bombed from above and rocketed from below, the Liberation Army suffered 150 dead and abandoned its positions. On February 10, the 4th, 9th and 13th Spanish Legion battalions, organized into a motorized group, drove the Moroccans from Ejera and advanced to Tafadat and Samara. The Spanish army at El Aoun, in conjunction with French forces from Fort Gouraud, struck the Moroccans on February 21, destroying Saharan Liberation Army concentrations between Bernazran and Ozert. Consequences. On April 2, the governments of Spain and Morocco signed the Treaty of Angra de Sintra, which was named after the large bay in the area. Morocco obtained the region of Tafaya, between the river Dra and the parallel 27°40, excluding the colonies of Sidi Ifni and the Spanish Sahara. Spain retained possession of Ifni until 1969, when, while under some international pressure, it returned the territory to Morocco. Spain kept control of Western Sahara until the 1975 Green March, and the Moroccan army invasion prompted a withdrawal. Bibliography. Santamaria, Ramiro. Ifni Sahara, La Guerra Ignorada Diosa, Madrid, 1984. The history of the Ifni War told by a specialized journalist in the Western Sahara. Casas de la Vega, Rafael. La Última Guerra de África, Servicio de Publicaciones del Estado Mayor del Ejército, Madrid, 1985. Military analysis of the war by a Spanish general. Marinas Romero, Gerardo, La Legión Española en la Guerra de Ifni Sahara, Defensa en 117. Article about the intervention of the Spanish Legion in the Ifni War. Belga Sala, Jose, Cabo Jubi 58. Memorias Durantinian de Infanteria en la Campana Ifni Sahara Servicio de Publications del Estado Mayor del Ejército, Madrid, 1990. Testimony of a Spanish officer. Diego Aguirre, José Ramón. Ifni, La Última Guerra Colonial Española. Historia 16, n. 167. Analysis of the Ifni War with unpublished documents. Diego Aguirre, José Ramón. La Última Guerra Colonial de España, Ifni Sahara, 1957–1958. Algazara, Malaga, 1993. ISBN 9788487999178. History of the Ifni War. Simon Contreras, Miguel. Ifni Sahara, Hoy. Ejército, N. 633. An officer of the Spanish Army revisits the battleground. Tamburini, Francesco. Ifni Sahara, 1957–1958. Una guerra colonial dimenticata. Essa City Historia, No. 42a. 7 July–August 2007.